Welcome to episode 110 of Build Your House Yourself University by BYHYU. I'm your host and fellow student, Michelle Nelson, and together we'll learn the basics of home design and construction and demystify the building process so we can make smart decisions and build quality dream homes with or without a general contractor. The kitchen stove is a visual and functional focal point in many kitchens, and there are several options from which to choose. This week's mini lesson will give you an overview of many of those options, including ranges versus cooktops, plus gas, electric, induction, convection, and dual fuel cooking. This lesson should help you choose the best stove for your new kitchen. Let's start by talking about the very basic differences between cooking with gas and cooking with electric. Electric ranges and cooktops are less expensive than their gas counterparts. However, electric units are more expensive to operate. Controlling the heat on an electric burner is more difficult than with a gas burner, and electric coils take longer to heat up and much longer to cool down. Electric burners actually heat water faster than gas burner units. Induction burners, which we'll talk about in a moment, can boil water faster than either gas or electric. Gas ovens bake moister, and electric ovens bake more evenly. Most serious cooks tend to prefer gas, but if you only cook occasionally or have a tight budget, an electric stove might be the best choice for you. Moving on to cooktops versus ranges. A cooktop is a cooking surface that's built into the top of the counter and is usually paired with a separate wall oven. Cooktops are available in 30 and 36-inch models. One of the main advantages of using a cooktop over a range is that the space beneath the cooktop that would be occupied by a range oven is empty. That open space is often used for storage drawers, where you can conveniently store your pots and pans. Some people distinguish a cooktop from a range top. A cooktop usually has a sleeker design with controls on top, and a range top looks a little more industrial or professional with controls in front of the unit. Gas cooktops. The heat output of gas units is measured in BTUs. The BTUs vary from model to model, but the output generally falls somewhere between 5,000 BTUs for low heat on small burners and 18,000 BTUs for high heat on large burners. High-end cooktops and ranges have BTUs that go even lower and even higher for more precise cooking. Electric cooktops. The heat output from electric cooktops is measured in watts. Outputs vary from stove to stove and burner to burner, but most people buying electric units aren't serious cooks, and they're not all that interested in the specific heat output of electric stoves. Instead, they're usually more interested in the type of electric cooktop surfaces. You can choose from either a smooth top, glass ceramic cooktop surface, or an electric coil cooktop surface. Smooth top cooktop surfaces are made of smooth glass ceramic with heating units under the surface. This type of cooktop is prone to scratches, and not all cookware is safe to use on the surface. But the surface is smooth and looks sleek, and it's easy to clean. Electric coil stoves are economical, but they're notorious for uneven cooking because it's hard to keep the coil perfectly level. In addition, electric coil stoves are slow to heat and slow to cool. Next, let's talk about the newest kid on the block, induction cooktops. Induction burners use the heat created from electromagnetic energy to cook your food. An element that creates a magnetic field is located just below the surface of the induction cooktop. When you put a piece of cookware containing iron, a cast iron skillet, for example, on top of that magnetic element, it causes a vibration that converts to heat. Induction cooktops are safer than gas or electric burners because they don't use flames or direct heat. Induction burners only produce heat when the iron-containing cookware is in direct contact with the element. Induction cooktops are more efficient and heat things more quickly. Many induction models can boil a large pot of water in 6 minutes. The main downsides to induction cooktops are that you can't just use any old cookware, and induction stoves tend to be more expensive than comparable gas or electric units. Okay, that was cooktops. If you don't want a separate cooktop and wall oven, you'll want to choose a range. A range combines a cooktop and oven in a single unit. You can find ranges as small as 20 inches wide, which are ideal for tiny homes and RVs, or as large as 60 inches wide. A standard range, though, is 30 inches. Most people building custom homes will choose either a 30, 36, or 48-inch range. Ranges come in 3 basic types: slide-in, drop-in, and freestanding. A slide-in range slides between lower cabinets and because of that has unfinished sides. Slide-in ranges are more expensive than freestanding models. Slide-in ranges sit on the floor. In contrast, a drop-in range is dropped into the lower cabinetry, so it has cabinetry on 3 sides. Instead of sitting on the floor, the bottom of a drop-in range sits on a short piece of cabinetry. A drop-in range also has sides that are unfinished because it will sit between 2 cabinets. Freestanding ranges. They are the most economical option and are designed to fit anywhere in the kitchen. A freestanding range can be placed between 2 cabinets, or it can be placed at the end of a row of cabinets. Freestanding units have finished sides, and the range controls are often located on a raised panel on the back of the unit. This raised back control panel is less expensive to manufacture than controls on the front of a range, so freestanding ranges are less expensive than other models. Take a look at the show notes to see pictures of all of the different types of ranges we've talked about. Now, what about the different types of ovens? When selecting an oven, it's best to look at its interior dimensions. The amount of interior space can differ greatly, even in ovens with the same exterior dimensions. If you choose an oven with a 24-inch wide interior, it can probably accommodate a standard cookie sheet, but most roasting pans will be too big. A 27-inch wide oven can handle just about any roasting pan, including a large turkey roaster. And a 30-inch oven has room enough for 2 cookie sheets side by side. Conventional ovens. Conventional ovens cook food by using non-circulating heated air inside the oven. Conventional ovens can be powered by either gas or electric. Convection ovens. They were originally developed in the 1950s to help commercial bakers save time and bake things more evenly. Convection ovens cook with an electric heat source and use a fan built in the back of the oven to circulate hot air. That fan helps to evenly disperse the heat and is especially nice if you're baking food like cookies on more than one rack in the oven. Because the unit uses moving air to cook the food, convection ovens cook food quickly, but they also dry food out a bit. Combination units. A steam convection oven gives you the best of both worlds, as it combines the speed and browning capability of a convection oven with the moisture of a steam oven. The convection part of the oven also prevents flavor transfer between racks, so you can bake muffins right alongside a seafood casserole. There's also a combination convection microwave oven. And there's a higher-end dual fuel range that combines an electric oven with a natural gas or propane-powered range top in a single unit. These units are popular with home chefs who want the even heat of an electric oven without sacrificing the precision control of a gas burner. Wall ovens. Adding a second wall oven is a popular upgrade, especially if you do a lot of baking. You can have a cooktop and double ovens, or you might choose a range that has an oven with a single wall oven. Wall ovens come in 24, 27, and 30-inch widths and can be either gas or electric. There are also convection and steam wall ovens. A wall oven is usually smaller than a range oven, typically 3.5 cubic feet as compared to a 5.0 cubic foot range oven. That smaller size is why many homeowners choose to get double wall ovens. For those without the space or budget for a double wall oven, a less expensive option is to look for one large wall oven with maximum interior space. You can find good quality ranges, cooktops, and ovens at any price range, but the more money you spend, the more bells and whistles and more options for finishes you get. Be realistic about the features you need and will actually use in an oven or range to keep yourself from wasting money on upgrades that sound good but aren't practical for your lifestyle. You can get a very basic range from $500 to $1,000. You'll be able to perform basic cooking functions like baking and broiling, but your options for finishes will usually be limited to black, white, or bisque. Occasionally, you can find a few stainless steel models in that price range. For $1,000 to $3,000, you have more options in cooking modes, styles, and finishes, including lots of stainless steel models. For $3,000 to $6,000, you can get some fancy options like dual fuel power, slide-in design, and convection fans. $6,000 to $10,000 gets you professional style appliances. You can buy a range with all stainless steel construction, not just a stainless steel finish on the doors and control panels. This price range also has many larger models with more than 4 burners. If you're looking for ranges in unique colors like blue or orange, or if you want built-in features like steam for baking, you'll most likely have to invest $10,000 or more. Other fancy features you can see in higher-end ranges include wireless connectivity, which allows you to control and monitor your stove from your smartphone. For example, you can use your smartphone to begin to preheat your oven on your way home from work. There are also some newer models that will allow you to control your oven with Alexa, Amazon's voice-activated virtual assistant. Other fancy features include a temperature probe. Temperature probes are like meat thermometers that are built into the oven wall. You can use them to monitor the internal temperature of meat as it cooks. The temperature displays on the control panel of your oven, so you don't have to open the oven door to see if your meat is done. Self-cleaning modes. The self-cleaning mode will cost you about $300 extra, but most people think not having to manually clean the oven several times a year is worth the extra cost. Delayed bake mode. It turns the oven on at a predetermined time, and a warm and hold mode maintains a low oven temperature and allows you to come home to a hot meal. Lastly, a quick word about vent hoods. Ideally, you want unwanted elements from cooking such as smoke, odor, humidity, and heat to be exhausted outside the house with a ducted vent hood. Seriously try to avoid ductless or downdraft vents or those over-the-range microwave filters that simply pull air in but recirculate that air back into the kitchen. Vent hoods, both ducted and non-ducted, must be adequately sized for the job. Hoods need to be designed around the size and strength of the range. A properly sized hood must cover at least the full width of the range and at least 50% of the front burners. Local code will dictate minimal vent hood requirements for your area, but you might want to go beyond minimal code requirements and take the recommendations from the Home Ventilating Institute. the HVI. It's a nonprofit organization that certifies residential ventilation products. For ranges, the HVI recommends a minimum of 40 CFM for every linear foot of range. CFM stands for cubic feet per minute and is a measurement of how fast air circulates in and out of a space. So 40 CFMs per linear foot for a range. In the case of gas cooktops, the general rule of thumb is 1 CFM for every 100 BTUs, but ultimately, the HVI recommends following the cooktop manufacturer's advice to determine the ventilation requirements. If at all possible, choose HVI-rated vent hoods. Inflated performance ratings are common for range hoods that are not HVI certified. Selecting range hoods with HVI certified performance ratings will ensure that ventilation expectations and building code requirements are met. Okay, before we go, let's do a couple of quiz questions. Question number 1. True or false? Electric ovens cook more evenly, but gas ovens cook moister. That is true. You can choose a combination convection steam oven for both moist and even cooking. And question number 2, true or false? For ranges, the Home Ventilating Institute recommends a minimum of 40 CFM for every linear foot of range. That's true. If you know someone who needs the information in this podcast, you can share this episode with them by text, email, or on social media. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts, just tap the 3 small dots at the bottom right of the screen and you'll see the share icon. Well, that's it for me this week. I hope you learned as much as I did, and I hope you'll join me next time for another episode of Build Your House Yourself University by BYHYU. Please remember that the purpose of this podcast is simply to educate and inform. It's not a substitute for professional advice. The information that you hear is based only on the opinions, research, and experiences of my guests and myself. That information might be incomplete, it's subject to change, and it may not apply to your project. In addition, building codes and requirements vary from region to region, so always consult a professional about specific recommendations for your home.